In today's video, we're going to be diving into the upcoming pattern where we're going to be taking a short look at the tropics. It's not too active out there. The bigger topic is the cooler air moving into the central and eastern United States, where models overnight have become a lot more bullish on that cold air lasting through the end of the model runs, which as of now is around September 7th, September 8th timeframe, with multiple Arctic blasts. We're going to be discussing this. Of course, it is, at the tail end at least, pretty long-range stuff, so we're still up in the air about if that is going to occur, but it is meaningful that these models have kind of switched their gears on as far as how long they expect that cold air to last. We will also be going over the storminess around the nation. Obviously, we have our tropical storm Fernand here that is expected to generally head northward and then curve northeasterly before getting close to the east coast of Canada there, so it does kind of curve away. Thankfully, we don't expect many impacts from that one at all. We do have this second area to the south that I'll zoom in on here that is interesting. Between South America, Dominican Republic, and Puerto Rico there, kind of right in the middle, we have a 40% chance of development over the next 2 days and the next 7. I believe this is up from either a 20 or 30% chance, so it has increased to a medium chance, pretty close to a 50-50 shot of development. We'll be watching this one, and I would say models have become a little bit more concerning, and that's a little bit, for this one to potentially avoid land interaction, but still stay pretty north there in this kind of southern Caribbean, and then enter into perhaps the southern Gulf. But you can't really rule out some sort of northern curve there as well. So we'll be watching for these possibilities. As of now, there's still under a 50% chance of this one even developing in the first place. So you can imagine the odds of something along these lines happening is still really, really low. But it is a possibility, and it is a climbing chance. So we'll continue to monitor this. The things to note, we talked about this yesterday, is land interactions. So that's one thing that could really hold this system back, is if it's really interacting with these islands. That tends to disrupt systems. And also if it's hugging very far south, close to South and Central America there, this tends to be a very dry, hostile environment for tropical development. So that wouldn't really be good for development either. So with all that in mind, you can kind of imagine that the path of best chance of development is relatively narrow there, but not impossible. So we'll be watching this one closely, but there's a variety of outcomes here for sure. Let's move into the model guidance. First things first, we're taking a look at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook here from the National Weather Service. Unfortunately, this is from yesterday. I'm making today's video a little bit earlier, but it's still the same idea. We have cooler air in the east expected, warmer air along the northwest and some of the rest of the west coast there as well, for the August 29th through September 2nd timeframe. Looking at the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, it's pretty similar, a little less confident. Obviously, it's further out. Warmer temperatures up here for the northwest and north central states, but cooler for the central, the deeper south, the southeast, and parts of the mid-Atlantic as well for this August 31st through September 6th timeframe. Now, we're looking at the past 5 days of temperatures, but I want to actually gradually move this forward. So this is valid as of August 19th, 5 days ago. So this is kind of the previous 5-day period, and you can see that we were experiencing mostly cooler conditions along the west, which we call a negative PNA, and this encourages warmth into the central and the eastern states. Now, I'm going to gradually move this forward all the way until today on August 24th. With its trailing 5 days. So this is the trailing 5 days behind the 19th, and we're going to move it forward all the way to the 24th today. And what we're going to watch for is a warming of the west, which will be moving us towards a positive PNA, and this encourages the opposite, cooler air moving into the central and eastern states. So watch this play out. I'm going to move it just kind of gradually over time. Here's the 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd. You can kind of picture now, by this point yesterday, the warming of the west and the cooling of the east. And I'm going to get it all the way to, that's all the way back in February. Here's the 24th here. And we could see that this is all the way warmed up towards a positive PNA. We've seen some cooling already for the Midwest, Ohio Valley, Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, and even parts of the Southeast. But the bigger, colder air mass has not moved in yet as of this point. So let's take a look at the storminess real quickly. We can see that cool down actually moving in on screen here. We have this low south of the Hudson Bay, ridge in the west, and this trough is entering in as we speak. So we've got this cold front right here. It's all getting pulled right in. So we can expect conditions to cool quite significantly. We also have a lot of activity along the southeast and Gulf coasts. So some dreary, showery thunderstorm weather can be expected there. And overall, we move into this trough pattern, and we do see a lot of monsoon activity there in the Four Corner states, as we've mentioned, and also surrounding states like the western coast there, areas further north in the Rockies, and even the plains kind of benefiting from some of this precipitation. So it is quite active out there day over day. But the east, I mean, we're seeing some activity there in the deep south and southeast, but it's really, really dry further northward. We actually get another major cool down here around the 6th, 7th on this model run, and that brings another cold front through, as you can see, which might be our next chance for a large amount of activity, at least some thunderstorms along that line there. This is for Saturday the 6th, very far out though. And then here's the end of the model run. We don't end up with a whole lot. Looking at the total precipitation, it's a pretty sharp cutoff. We've got a lot of activity going on in these areas. Even the deep south and southeast, it might be a little bit above average for some areas, but there's this giant area here with really, really huge lack of activity. Looking at the anomalies, again, above average for most of these areas here in the greens, well above average in the southern plains, most areas above average. And then in this pocket here, clearly much, much drier, especially in the Midwest, Ohio Valley, Southeast, Mid-Atlantic area. Very, very dry over the next 2 weeks. With all that being said, let's move into the temperatures, which is probably why you're even watching this video. And we can see as of this morning, we have this really, really cold Arctic blast moving in. Cold is relative to normal, of course, so it's not going to be frigid, but it is a lot of cooler air moving in for the northern plains, upper Midwest so far. These greens are about a month ahead of schedule. So 10 to 15 degrees below normal for these areas. Very, very chilly compared to normal. Lows are probably quite literally chilly. The west is really, really warm compared to normal, as you can see. So it's all kind of taking shape already. For tomorrow on Monday, the 25th, we see a lot of these greens again. Also these purplish blues, which are about 2 months ahead of schedule. So you're looking at October temperatures in there, 15 to 25 degrees below normal for this time of year. Very significant. And it lasts. That's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the 28th, Friday, the 29th, Saturday, the 30th, Monday, the 1st, Tuesday, the 2nd. And actually, this is a good point to reference because we're near normal now in the east by the 2nd, 3rd time frame. But we have another Arctic blast just charging in down there to the eastern states, and we continue to see this stacked column of warmth along the west. So we're going to be locked into something like this for a while. And here it is, moved in by the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. And it even potentially looks like another one is trying to lower down here from Canada. So the European model all of a sudden is saying, hey, there is no end in sight for this cooler pattern here in the central and eastern states. Obviously, I would say beyond the 10-day mark, we're a lot less confident. So this is the 3rd. And interestingly enough, this is right around the time frame where we're neutral in the east. There's some cooler, some warmer, but it's very close to normal. We do still see the positive PNA here, which is an encouraging sign through days 10. And we're on the midst of another pretty big cool down after this point. So this is pretty much where our confidence starts to go downhill after this point. And it is still up in the air, but obviously we're going to continue to keep you guys up to date. Let's take a look at the GFS model and see where we get some agreement. Obviously, we get this big cool down lasting through the end of August. And that does last through the 2nd, 3rd, 4th here. We see the cold air just kind of stick around in the east, and we go all the way to the 9th here, Tuesday. A little bit of cooler air starting out for the west, but we're still dealing with cooler than normal conditions, especially along the immediate eastern areas here on this GFS model as well. So both models kind of in agreement here that this could last a little bit longer than we were originally anticipating. We will continue to keep track of it for you guys, continue to talk about it, obviously, as long as this is the most major thing going on. With all that being said, guys, be sure to subscribe. We upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.